They're not in their graves.
It's me, Ron Yinty here, and today we're going to be reviewing Underwater. Oh, and before I forget, it's Saturday night! Alright, let's get it started. Like all my new movie reviews, I'm going to keep it short, sweet, simple, and to the motherfucking keep it going point. Alright, let's get it started. Underwater is essentially a Kristen Stewart. Yes, that Kristen Stewart. Now that we got that out of the way, she's made some bad movies. I know. Hold your booze for the end of the review. But yeah, like I was saying, this is a Kristen Stewart vehicle, and essentially she's the main draw of this film, along with T.J. Miller, and along with this guy right here, and along with this beautiful woman right here, and along with this guy right here, who I've never really seen in anything else. And I have to say, she carries the film pretty well. This lady right here, Kristen Stewart, who's been accused many times of not being able to act very well or not showing a lot of emotion, oddly enough, shows a lot of emotion in this movie and is really good in this movie. I think she should make the transition from Charlie's Angels and Twilight to horror films like this. And yeah, I really would dig her in a lot more horror films because she did a pretty good job in this film. And I have to say, go out on a limb here and say she's what really boasted this film up. I mean, this film could have been a run-of-the-mill, another January film like this other movie that we're never going to talk about again. But it wasn't. It completely washed the bad taste out in my mouth from this fucking shit show. And you know what? I'll get into all the positive stuff a little bit later, but let me tell you exactly what this movie is about with no spoilers at all. Underwater is essentially Aliens. Aliens, the movie, the Ridley Scott movie, starring Sigourney Weaver. Instead of in space, they're underwater, deep underwater. That's the bare bones Cliff Notes plot of this movie. It is an isolated sci-fi thriller with horror elements, and it's about this crew of people who are underwater drillers, and they get stuck underwater because of this Cthulhu type monster is like terrorizing them, along with its kind of like henchmen. It's terrorizing them, and it's basically the plot of Aliens. I mean, Kristen Stewart's character and Sigourney Weaver's character they look pretty much the same. They got the same haircut. They do the same thing, except for Kristen Stewart's character. And this is a smart decision on the director's part in this movie. Doesn't have that heroic moment. Well, she kind of does have that heroic moment towards the end of the film, but she doesn't have that moment where it's like, get away from her, you bitch, like, you know, as Sigourney Weaver's character does in Aliens. Nobody has that G.I. Joe action star moment because this is kind of more or less a realistic film in the sense of these people, they're in a hopeless situation and they literally have no way of fucking getting out. And this film conveys that very fucking well. You really feel like these people are fucked. They have no way out. They're all gonna die. And it does an amazing job of doing that. All while having some pretty good slow motion shots, some pretty good action shots, some amazing set design. I mean, when they show that underwater drill base thing, it reminded me of this cartoon. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but it looked like that, but a cool big budget live action version of that. And I have to say that again, it boasted the movie up. This movie could have been run of the mill, but it wasn't. Another thing that I have to praise this movie for is that it cut out all of that stupid bullshit that movies have, where like all the filler and fluff. This movie said fuck all that. threw it out the window, broke the glass, and just was like, we're going to give you what you want. We know what you want. We're going to give you the action. Let's start the movie off with some motherfucking action. And they did. And I was glued into this movie right from the fucking start. I know some other reviewers are kind of just like, oh, well, I think it's this and this and this and that. Shut up. It's a popcorn film. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel, nor was it ever seeking out to reinvent the wheel. This movie just wanted to be entertaining. And by fucking golly, it's inner-fucking-taining. And coming from me, who hated Charlie's Angels starring Kristen Stewart, who hated Twilight starring Kristen Stewart, this movie starring Kristen Stewart is pretty fucking good. I had a lot of fun with this. And I'm going to go out on a limb here. Nay, I say, not go out on a limb here and say, this is the first good horror movie of 2020. Hands down, Underwater is the first good horror movie of 2020. I really wanted to give that title to The Grudge, but that was a shit show. This isn't a shit show. This is just a regular good show. Another thing that this film does is, again, like I said, it's very reminiscent of Alien. It's almost as if they sat down and were like, hey, yo, Ridley Scott, can we copy your homework? And he was like, yeah, dog, just make it a little bit different. And they were like, all right, we're going to be underwater instead of in space. And he was like, sounds good to me. Which, okay, fine, that's cool, it's all fine and dandy. But the things that the decisions they make in this movie and the things that the characters do in this movie set it apart from Alien, just in that sense. I will say the big negative thing for me that drove down my rating, that's going to drive down my rating for this film is the ending. The ending's a little bit cliche. I really would have wished they would have ended it a different way. I'm not going to go into how I feel like they should end it. I'm going to wait till everybody sees it and then maybe on Facebook or Twitter. Again, if you haven't, like the Ryan T Show on Facebook, follow me on Twitter at the Ryan T Show. Also, Instagram the same thing, Snapchat the same thing, and I'll give it a week and then I'll go into some spoilers with this film. I think that's all I gotta say about this film. I mean, in summary, this was a good, intense, action-packed sci-fi thriller that really conveyed the feeling of isolation and hopelessness very well, with a good performance from Kristen Stewart, and had some good set pieces, some good costume design, and some good choices were made here. But some of that stuff goes to the wayside after it has this sort of shallow ending. So for that, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I suggest you go out and watch this movie and witness your first good horror movie of 2020 in theaters as opposed to watching it pirated. I hate when people pirate movies. That's just my thing. If you do that, cool, I still love you, but I don't like that. Go watch this in the theater. This is a movie that needs to be watched in the theater. I'm Ryan T, and I'll see you in the next one.